What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, and this is Flix Fix, but with a twist. We have a co-host, but with a twist. It's not Kristen. Scooted over from the wrestling world, we've got Senor Guapo.
Oh, that means we go. Senor Guapo's back again. Wait. This is my first time here at Flix. This isn't AEW. This isn't WWE. This isn't Impact Wrestling.
This is the resting place for all my co-hosts that got sick of pro wrestling but still want to be on the show.
I'll just state this here. I still love wrestling. I just haven't cared about talking about it much lately because it's kind of crap lately. WWE is doing some good shit. There is some good stuff in AEW. But you know what? I don't care anymore. Let's talk about some Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The best movie this year.
I mean, it's up there. It's top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say. I mean, nostalgia has a big part in it, but like, have you seen Top Gun Maverick?
I have seen Top Gun Maverick.
Have you seen John Wick 4?
I have not seen John Wick 4 yet.
Okay, so those would be my 3.
Okay.
Not gonna lie. Guardians probably. I will say though.
Top Gun Maverick was last year.
I'm sorry?
Well, Top Gun Maverick was last year.
Well, then I'm an idiot. We know this. We can carry on. I will say, though, going into this year, probably one of my most anticipated movies for 2023. When Marvel needed a win, shall we say. There's been a lot, especially on the TV shows, there's been a lot of hit and miss stuff.
Yes.
There's Black Panther 2, which was great, but
I enjoyed Black Panther 2. It wasn't the best.
When we're talking about movies, though, like, I kind of have to put it in a separate category, only in the sense that, like, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, it was kind of the film funeral for Chadwick Boseman.
Yes.
And so, like, for that alone, like, to be playing a comparison game with it and other movies, I don't want to do it, basically. But it was good as well. I will say there are parts of Black Panther 2 that are better than the original.
Yes,
like effects
I agree.
For one thing. I mean, Ironheart kind of looks like a Power Ranger, but we don't need to talk about that. And I mean, on the Disney Plus side of things, Marvel had what did they have? Oh yeah, they had She-Hulk.
We're not going to talk about She-Hulk.
We're not going to talk about She-Hulk twerking. CGI twerking is not something we need.
I watched the first 2 episodes and that was it, and then I haven't watched the rest yet.
See, I watched it to the end because I knew I was probably going to crap on it, but like, if I was going to crap on it, I wanted to crap on it from like a fully knowledgeable, like, did you take in the whole thing? Yes, I did take in the whole thing, and it was kind of shit. And like, I know it's true in the comics, but they really tried to make her female Deadpool as well, which I mean, Ryan Reynolds is bringing us more actual Deadpool, so that's a no.
Thank God.
And like, the bummer of it is we know when, again, to use a really bad wrestling reference, like, when it hits hard, and when it misses hard. For every Endgame, there's any movie with Captain America in the title. For every Moon Knight, there's a She-Hulk. I really like Moon Knight, not gonna lie.
Moon Knight was great.
And they just announced that John Bernthal's Punisher is going to be in the rebooted Daredevil. So fucking A, let's go.
All right.
But for the most part, like, going into this, looking forward to it, and you probably had some of the same thoughts. Going into it, most anticipated, most fun characters currently in Marvel. People are going to give it a lot of leeway, but also in a very mixed time for Marvel, it really kind of had to shoot past the expectations. All the trailers were getting us ready for... Oh, by the way, spoiler alerts. If you haven't seen the movie yet, don't listen to us yet, because we're going to talk about everything.
Yes.
This is the other thing. Normally, when you and I talk about wrestling, it's a preview. We're just talking about shit that happened here. Yeah, so that'll be fun as well.
By the way, if you have not watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, why the fuck are you listening to this?
Yeah, pretty much.
Go. Okay, look, this is what you're gonna do.
You're gonna stop the podcast.
Had the podcast right now. You're gonna pause it in the next 5 seconds when I say pause. Go watch it.
Come back.
Get some popcorn. Come back, and we'll continue. Okay.
All right. Let's give him 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Pause.
All right. Welcome back. Not bad for two guys that are not working face to face right now. But yeah, lots of fun. Before we get into it, right? Like, and everybody has their own thing of like what they like in Marvel. I deal with a lot of people that really still stand hard for Captain America. I don't. When I was watching this, and I want to get your reflection on this because I've been sitting on this idea since I saw the movie. Right. Guardians of the Galaxy, whatever they do, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's happy, whether it's sad, whether it's mad, whether it's whatever, is always going to be more effective because they are the most real collection of people in Marvel. Like, none of them are trying to be heroes. None of them are even trying to be, like, good people. They're, like, a bunch of friends that are always, like, ragging on each other and kind of fumble into situations, and they're like, well, this is kind of shit. What do we do now? Like, they're all, like, other than Star-Lord, they're a bunch of aliens from all over the place, and yet they manage to be the most human characters in the MCU.
Right. Yes. I mean, I feel like anybody can relate with Star-Lord. Chris Pratt's character. I mean, shoot, in a emotional level, everybody can somewhat relate with Rocket.
Yep.
Gamora is kind of the oddball out here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hard to play the whole, like, this character experienced all this, but that character died, so we're going back to the character that only had experienced this much.
Right.
I do have to give a quick shout-out, though, to, what's her name, Zoe Saldana, that does Gamora?
Yes.
To play a character that knows this much of the story, and then play that same character but not knowing that much of the story, is probably a lot more difficult than it would appear on face value, because, like, oh, well, how would knowing less be harder? Like, how do you pretend you don't know something?
Right. I'll also like to point out that Nebula, Karen Gillian's character, what a fucking arc she's had from being essentially the
coldest person in the universe.
The literally coldest assassin person that hates everybody and everything to I like this character. This character has had, out of everybody, she's probably had the most character development out of everybody in this entire series.
Yeah, I could get on with. I don't know that I necessarily agree, but I could definitely get on board with that. I mean, obviously, like, our entry point is Star-Lord, because first movie starts off with him,
well,
and
yeah.
he goes out and experiences everything. Interesting, though, and I'm going to shout out, like I always do, Charlie over at Emergency Awesome, and weirdly, people still hate that I reference him so much, but he's the reference that I use, so I'm going to reference him.
Right.
He played on one of his videos, like, several weeks ago, he played a little chunk of an interview from James Gunn where he said, like, once we started seeing the trailers and all that and how they focused on Rocket so much, and he's like, yeah, people don't realize it, but Rocket's been the main character of this story through all three movies. And as soon as I saw it through that, I was like, it turns the whole movie on its head.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, I know people are questionable about him these days, but friggin' Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow.
Yep.
Like, you think of Pirates of the Caribbean and you think of him, but they've always said that, to prove my point, I can't think of the other character's name, Will, is the actual main character, and Jack Sparrow is, like, the most entertaining character in the show, or in the movie, rather. And as soon as he said, because, you know, okay, Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord, and it's like, no, as soon as you say that Rocket is the main character, I'm like, I don't know what you think about it, but, like, to me it makes a lot more sense in a lot of ways, because he's the character, if you were an asshole looking at all these guys, he's the character you'd expect the least from. He's a little guy, he's a bit of a monster, somebody else had to create him, he's just a bit of an asshole, like, nobody's ever going to expect anything from that guy.
Right.
How did we not figure out before now that that's an entry point for a lot of people?
Yeah.
Anyway, so of course the trailers made us think somebody was going to die in the movie.
The entire time, also the entire. I mean, I'm not sure how much I say dirt sheets because of our wrestling background,
Yeah.
but I mean, Dave Bautista's he's done after this one. He has nothing left on his Marvel contract, and I think he's even stated he's done. He doesn't want to do anymore.
Yeah.
There was another. I think Vin Diesel's out too.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I hate to say it, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be hard to have somebody else voice Groot, but same thing though.
Hey, you know what, man? I will say, like, I kind of get where you're coming from, but seeing a bit of the newer, like, Batman animated movies that don't have Kevin Conroy voicing Batman, obviously, rest in peace, like, it matters more than a lot of people think. I know you're not sweeping them under the rug. I know you're not doing that, but, like, you're going to have to basically find a Vin Diesel impersonator if you want him to come along and play Groot. But the whole time, the fact that you could tell even in the trailer that most of the movie was going to be flashbacks, most of the movie was going to be, we were finally going to get this, like, painful story about how Rocket was created, and instantly you're going to like, oh, this is the fun group of people. I don't want to be sad watching the fun group of people.
Right.
And then the rumors come out of, like, things not coming back, and Marvel making their announcement in general that no characters are getting any more than a trilogy.
Yes.
Like Iron Man had 3, Cap had 3, etc., etc., etc. Doctor Strange is getting 1 more, and then he'll only be in compilations, etc. Yeah, and then you just see the trailer at all, and the quote that they kept on using is, "We're all going to fly away together into the," whatever the line is, "the forever sky."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a character that's dying.
Yeah.
That's a character that's dying. I'm going to buy a ticket to watch Rocket die. And on the one hand, I'm like, that's really sad. On the other hand, I'm like, goddamn you, Marvel and James Gunn, for making me care about the physical well-being of a CGI-produced mechanical raccoon.
Yeah. I will say this. My wife went with me to see this. Now, she has very little knowledge of anything Marvel. I mean, she'll go or she enjoys the movies, but she's not.
My hubby's taking me to the movies and he enjoys them, so let's go.
She goes to support me because I like it more.
Yeah. Well, you drag her to wrestling shows.
Exactly, and she somehow keeps going. I don't know why.
And you held on to her. Shout out to Mrs. Guapo before we go any further than this.
Love you, babe. Anyway, so
she's never going to hear this in a million years.
No, never. Anyway, so she wanted me to see this. She had an emotional connection with Rocket.
Yeah.
With this movie. Like
100%.
I mean, she's an animal lover, so that goes part of it.
Oh,
but
yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're an animal lover, don't go see the movie. Like,
oh, God. No.
Like, for real.
Especially because we have pet rabbits.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
no. Floor.
Oh,
Poor Floor.
Floor and Teefs and Lila and Rocket.
Lila. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
But it goes back to what I was saying a second ago, like when we were talking about, like, oh, this is the character that you would expect the least from because he's just a bit of a mangled wreck and he's kind of an asshole, right? The same thing happens if something damaging happens to, like, if you look at the group and you perceive one of them as a weak link, and clearly he's, like, physically smaller, like, he looks like he's constantly in pain the way they've produced him and whatever, so something happening, it's like somebody kicking a dog down the road. Like, you don't do it. Like, I hate to use a real example like that that's terrible, but...
You're not wrong, though.
It's, so like that, but, and here's where I'm gonna flip the credit a little bit. Already liked him as an actor. Already thought he was a pretty damn vital part of the MCU. But god damn, Chris Pratt had his working boots on for this movie.
Oh, absolutely. Wait. So, before we go much further, I just want to talk about the opening real quick.
Yes.
So, opening of the movie, they're in nowhere. And
I like the fact that they bought Nowhere from the Collector.
Yes.
I think that's fucking awesome. I think anybody that didn't watch the Guardians Christmas special was going to have a couple gaps in this movie.
Yeah, I had a couple gaps because I didn't watch it. So
okay. Yeah, so they bought Nowhere, by the way, and Mantis is Peter's sister.
Yes.
Which is kind of obvious, but then they made it a thing.
They made it canon. Anyway, so I mean, opens, has that entire the entire fight scene and everything like that with freaking Adam Warlock, which sidebar, I really fucking hate what they do with Adam Warlock. That's my only like big gripe with the movie.
Okay, can we say, like, I know that's a lot of people's gripe, and I'm gonna be picking your brain because I'm not a comic book reader. I take the movies as they are. Before that, though, we start off the whole movie with everybody sort of like doing like workaday stuff on Nowhere, like they're putting the city together, and
also the acoustic version of freaking Creep was great. Added to that.
Oh, for sure. And the fact that like one of their buildings, like their Guardians headquarters or whatever the hell it is, has a sign that is literally the movie logo.
Yes.
Like, I love the tongue-in... Like, this is the thing, with the James Gunn movies, with the Guardians movies specifically, you can have the tongue-in-cheek stuff like that, and it doesn't seem out of place. But then we go from all that, which is awesome, and, like, you can tell that they've, like, put this community together and whatever. And you got our buddy Star-Lord, who's, you know, drinking his sorrows away in the bar. And they have to carry him, and they did that big walking scene down the road with Gamora carrying him, which, if you look at it from the trailer, you could believe that, oh, this is just when Star-Lord died. But no, it's in the opening sequence.
Correct. And, I don't know if you've seen any, like, behind-the-scenes stuff. They actually made a full-size doll for Karen Gillian, Nebula, to be able to carry that was, like, 30 pounds.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, you mean cool. She wasn't really carrying Star-Lord?
No, God no.
The magic is gone.
Oh well, fuck it.
If next time Gamora is played by Rhea fucking Ripley, then maybe.
I mean, I would let Mommy carry me.
This is you want to be Dominic Mysterio? Oh, this is gonna be a weird.
No. I do not want to be Dominic Mysterio. I want to be Buddy Matthews.
True. Yeah. Man, can you tell you and I haven't had a chance to talk about anything in a while?
Right.
But yeah, no, I love this whole, like, we enter in and it's all, like, work a day and everybody's sort of, like, doing their own thing. And people that didn't really get... People that were kind of cast aside as, like, weirdos and losers, even within this group, got a chance to shine a little bit more. And we got that right at the offset, where you got Mantis is taking care of people, and what's his name? Kraglin has Yondu's fin, and he's trying to teach himself how to do the arrow bit.
With the whistle.
Yeah. And it's so subtle, but it builds on the, like, what I said about the larger team. It's just like nobody really knows what they're doing. This is just a bunch of ragtag friends that are gonna give it their best shot. Like, for lack of any other way to explain it, like, they're not, you know, Superman, Captain America. No, I'm here to save the day. It's like, oh, well, this is the shit we're in today. All right,
exactly.
Let's try our best. They're living in a skull, like, for real. Anyways.
That's why we can't have nice things.
But yeah, anyway, so enter Adam Warlock.
Yes. Adam Warlock coming in, I can't remember the song that he was freaking jamming to, flying in.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Anyway, he comes in and then starts just smashing shit. And
he's there to get Rocket.
So, Will, whatever the dude's name is that plays him, I like him as an actor. I don't like what they do with Adam Warlock. For non comic book readers, Adam Warlock is legitimately one of the strongest, if not the strongest, powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. This Adam Warlock can kill, like, if I remember
Didn't he
correctly,
wield the Infinity Gauntlet at one point?
he has wielded the Infinity Gauntlet before in one story, as well as he's also killed Galactus in a story.
Okay, well, the way it was explained to me is that he is, like, all-powerful, like, meant to be the designed perfect being or whatever, but
yes,
in a comic book sense, he's also meant to be, like, baby Jesus, like,
Yes.
all-powerful, everybody looks up to him, but also he's just looking around awkwardly, trying to figure out how to be a person.
yes, basically because he is so powerful and he is so like good, he doesn't know how to be an actual person.
Yeah, but also, like, the last time we saw a hint of him was at the end of the last Guardians movie when he was still in the weird fucking cocoon thing. So,
Right.
depending on how you want to play around with time, people always say when they're trying to prove their intelligence, I wasn't born yesterday. He kind of was.
Yeah.
So him kind of being an idiot made sense to me. It didn't add or subtract to the movie, but I was like, I can definitely see that making sense. It's like, okay, he's got, I'm going to be really bad with names now, which is terrible. The leader of the Sovereign basically acting as his mom,
Yes.
as we find out later on. And basically, he does do a Dominic Mysterio. He does whatever mommy tells him to. Anyways, he fights everybody. This is his big introduction. Very, for me that doesn't know the character, very lackluster, surface level way to introduce the character. But because it's not a character that I was looking forward to, I also didn't really care that much that it wasn't great.
Right.
They fight him off. The bottom line of it is Rocket gets injured in the process. They try to operate on him. They can't operate on him because the High Evolutionary, when he created Rocket, put a failsafe in his chest so that if they try to save him, they're going to kill him.
Yes.
And this sets off the whole
backstory.
Well, it sets off the rubric. The what are we searching for in this movie? What's the motive? All those terms that people that are actually professionals at this would use. So we find out that he's got this kill switch. We got to figure out what the kill switch is. We got to figure out what the code is. Gamora's like reading his heart rate meter with her face because she's a robot. And they figure out that they have to get a code to unlock the failsafe so that they can operate on them, so that the med packs can operate. I love the fact that they have the med packs, and because it's in space, basically anything can happen. So they just roll this thing over your chest, and it just fixes whatever's wrong with you.
I mean,
space things.
Yeah, I mean, movie plot armor. they have magical things that fix you.
I like the fact that even though what's his name, Bucky, is not in this movie, part of him is.
Right.
Because Rocket gave Nebula Bucky's arm, and that's why she's able to turn her arm into a cannon now.
Because she has Bucky's arm, because Rocket stole it.
Yeah, on the Christmas special. It was a Christmas present.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a part of the Christmas special.
That was a part of the Christmas special, because there's the whole Rocket thing in, Infinity War. Is like, I'm going to get that arm. And he actually does. Somebody gives it to him, and then he gives it... I forget who now, which is terrible. Somebody gives it to him in the Christmas special, and we're meant to assume that he's given it to Nebula, and that's why her arm can become such a fucking cannon in the movie, which I thought was also awesome. Like, while she's become more machine, she's also become more human. Isn't that sweet?
The more machine she's become, the more human she becomes.
What's the Darth Vader line? He's more machine now than man, twisted and evil. Well, she's the opposite of Darth Vader, clearly.
I mean, I'll let her be my daddy. What? Spaz, you there?
No, you take a minute. You take a minute and think about what you did. I do like it at one of the press conferences. She just, like, right in the middle of an interview, she took off her wig and she's like, oh yeah, by the way, I did in fact shave my head for this movie. And just, like, flashed her bald head. That's cool. I like that. It's neat little things like that, You want to know that the people that are entertaining you are also having fun.
Yes.
So they find out that this thing was made in Ogo Corp, which is like the most made-up evil corporation name ever. And they go to the planet, which is not really a planet because it's made out of living matter. Everybody that I watch, Emergency Awesome and CinemaSins and a couple of other people that were just talking about the trailer kept on calling it the Space Anus. Because that's what it looks like.
I mean, they're not wrong.
It is not wrong. I kind of like this too, this whole sequence in the OgoCorp building, because this is where they got a lot of the... I mean, Guardians movies are sillier movies, that's why we like them and whatever. But because of how serious this movie was, I think they chose this one sequence to get a majority of the over-the-top silly stuff out. Like, all the security cameras are eyeballs, and all the security guards are like these big jack dudes that look like floating tumors. And
the freaking Nathan Fillion being in there, it kind of threw it for me, and I loved it.
Yeah. But, like, when they get out of their clothes, and then she puts their clothes out of the laundry hatch, and they're, like, floating around in space, and then the security guards catch them, and he talks about Drax being an idiot, and the security guard's like, yeah, I got one of those on my team.
I have one of them, too.
I got one of them, too. It's like, it's the boss's nephew, and you just gotta kind of do whatever. The whole time that Peter Quill, who's on a mission to get this code to save his friend's life who's dying, but also still manages to be all mopey and whatever about Gamora, and Nebula's getting sick of it, and he's like, actually, no, you're kind of a dickhead, this is horrible, that is horrible. Oh! Knew I was going to do this, left out a huge part. They got help from the Ravengers.
Yes.
And the Ravengers are now run by the previous past Gamora.
Sylvester Stallone and...
Well, it's Sylvester Stallone and all the... what is it? The Ravengers 3000 from the comics?
Yes.
I'm not familiar enough to make that reference. Apparently the Miley Cyrus robot is no longer voiced by Miley Cyrus, but again, it kind of floats away into that category of I don't really care.
It wasn't important enough to be important.
Yeah. I thought about caring and then I didn't. But no, the bigger portion of it being is the way they made the communication was because Nebula and Gamora talked to each other. Nebula and Gamora, as sisters in this movie, they don't really show any love for each other, but they don't hate each other either. And I love the fact throughout the entire movie, the only way they acknowledged each other was like a head tilt and a grunt.
Yes.
Throughout the whole movie. And it's such a small thing, and it doesn't matter at all at the end of the day. But it was really good. It was just really good. And in amongst all this, like, he's arguing with a version of his ex-girlfriend that was never his girlfriend. And they banter back and forth, and he tells the whole story about how, like, everything... He, like, speed runs through the entire story of Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War and the blip and everything. And even Nebula's in the background being like, yeah, you kind of left out a couple key points there, but you're more or less correct. While he's hitting on the secretary.
Right.
Trying to get the information. And they get the information, and the rest of the information is on some guy's head that we're going to talk about later. You find out that OgoCorp is run by the... What the hell is his name? The High Evolutionary. And when they pull Rocket's file, they all... And this is... I'm sorry, like, low-key, this is one of the saddest points of the whole movie, because they all know that he's had, like, a really, really terrible past, but he's never talked about it. Like, they all just kind of quietly acknowledge, like, yeah, he's been through some shit in his life. And then when they're going through his file, they have to watch everything that happened to him. How we feeling about that?
Yes,
because that was a whole lifetime, not a whole lifetime because he's still alive, but like a whole young lifetime worth of trauma probably watched in like a day.
Just all of it. It's just so wrong. I mean, watching animals get mutilated and all of his all of his past trauma. That's. Yeah.
It's the two things really, right? Like when you're watching a movie, what do they say? They say like don't fuck with animals, don't fuck with kids, right?
And it did both in one.
And that's the thing, like, I'm going to say, like, I don't want to be misconstrued what I'm saying here. Like, Rocket's not a kid, but again, seen as smaller, seen as a little bit weaker, seen as having some issues and whatever, could weaken him in character to a point where you might compare him to a child if you were doing, like, a fiction comparison type thing, right? So imagine, like, your kid and your dog are both strapped to a table, and you're watching both of them go through so much unnecessary surgery. And, like, this is where it works, that this is a group that's so, like, goofy and carefree and kind of immature. Like, when you, and I'm going to say it again, my hat's off to Chris Pratt in this movie, because he did a fucking forceful job. When you see somebody that's always been goofy, always been a little bit of a, I want to say like a lightweight in character, but not because his character was bad, but like nothing takes too seriously. He carries a lot of sarcasm, probably why I relate to him. Very immature, probably why I relate to him. Mm-hmm. So when you see that much rage come out of a character that's typically like that, it's so goddamn effective. And it's just like I said, once again, I go back to the...
You can relate to it because...
They're the most relatable characters in the universe.
Exactly. I mean, it affects you because you understand it. You understand where that rage comes from because you put yourself in his shoes. He's just witnessed everything that happened as well as understands what happened with Rocket now. And now he's pissed because somebody hurt it. This is why his best friend's hurting.
Yeah. It's like another...
second best friend.
Another, yeah, sorry, Drax. I mean, Batista's low-key underrated in this movie as well, but I'll get to that later. But like...
Drax as a whole character is underrated.
The fact that he actually manages to pull off a metaphor and do it kind of properly. I took a shit in the shape of a fish. That's a metaphor. But no, a comparison that I saw made during opening weekend, and I don't know that I 100% agree with it because it's a very touchy subject, but I get where the person was coming from, is like, imagine finding out your best friend is in an abusive relationship and then having to watch the security footage of their house.
Right.
And I'm just like, and I was already like, holy shit, but like, you put it into those terms, like, it's dangerous as far as a storytelling thing because it's almost an unimaginable amount of pain in a very, like you've said multiple times already, a very relatable character.
Yeah.
And a lot of it because Rocket's unconscious and so he's not doing anything, but also B, because he is an animatronic character at the end of the day. The entire story of the almost tragedy of Rocket plays out on Chris Pratt's face.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nebula gives a shit. And Gamora ends up giving a shit too eventually when she sits with the what did she keep on calling him? Because she didn't call him a raccoon. She called him like the squirrel or whatever.
She changed it every time, I think.
Yeah. But even she, like, when she was guarding the ship, she, like, sat back with him and listened to because they're still playing things on Quill's Zune.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
The music.
I hope when he shows up in, like, an Avengers movie, he's, like, somebody's finally brought him up to date and he's got, like, an iPad or something. Because that would be fun. That would be a fun little thing. We'll talk about the ending when we get to the ending. But, we see all this terrible, terrible, horrible treatment. We find out that it's at the hands of the High Evolutionary. I keep wanting to say Grand Evolutionary, but that's not a thing. And that the Ogo Corp thing, Space Anus, is basically his front to make space dollars so that he can do his actual experiments, which is to create like perfect beings and whatever. At this point, we've gone so far in flashbacks that we've seen Rocket be chosen out of a cage of other raccoons. We've seen him be altered. We've seen him have this really sort of okay but really gaslighting relationship with the High Evolutionary. Like, treats him well when he's doing something right and when he can get something from him, but the rest of the time, no. He makes the friends. The medically enhanced friends. You got Lila the otter, and the walrus is named Teefs because he's got teefs.
And the rabbit
is named Floor because it's lying on the floor.
It's lying on the floor.
And Rocket is obviously Rocket because he wants to build a rocket and he wants to get the fuck out of there, etc. I know it's not the point. I know it's supposed to be like really heartwarming, like he's in the worst situation possible and he still managed to make himself some friends. The other friends are low-key terrifying. Like, they kind of look like they came out of Sid from Toy Story's basement, which is not their fault, and the whole point of it is, like, these are nice characters and look what's happened to them, but they did a really good job of making that really, really unsettling. And then it gets worse. And then it gets much worse. But then they have to go to, what is it, Counter-Earth? Which is this entire planet that the High Evolutionary has made for his experiment, and all his experiments are basically like they look like villains from the Ninja Turtles, because they're all practical, which I like, because yeah, lots of CGI these days. So practical, very, very nice. They're basically a replica of, what would you say, like 80s Earth.
90s Earth, I think, closer, because it's this movie's decade, like in the Zune, really is 90s.
Yeah, that makes some kind of sense, I think. But then they do, because none of them speak English, which is fine. They live on another planet. It doesn't make any sense that so many planets do speak English. But they manage to communicate and ask where the High Evolutionary is, and they call it a pyramid, but then you find out later on that it's a spaceship. And then you have the big historical Marvel moment, Guapo.
Yes.
Were you prepared for this?
What, the F-bomb?
The first MCU F-bomb.
I leaned over to my wife after. I was like, this movie's rated PG-13. They're allowed one F-bomb, and that was it.
Yep. And they purposely did it for something that didn't really matter at all. Like, he wasn't going to the High Evolutionary saying, I'm gonna fucking kill you. They were two aliens that didn't know how to operate a 90s Earth car, and he just said, get in the fucking car. I think that is so cool in the sense of, like, it's huge for a proper MCU, especially now Disney MCU movie, to have an F-bomb in it in general. So for James Gunn to not only be the one to do it,
yeah,
but also
do it before Deadpool.
Well, not only to do it before Deadpool, because Deadpool came from Fox, so whatever, and it's going to be R-rated anyway. But to say, okay, I'm going to get to be the one to do this, I only get to do it once, I'm purposely going to do it on something that doesn't matter, is fucking great. Yeah. And again, in the little snippets of interviews that I've seen from him, because it's his last movie, he's going to go fix DC, hopefully. Maybe not, we'll see. But this was his last Guardians movie, and somebody actually asked him, do you really want to be the guy that had to drop an F-bomb in a Marvel movie? And he said, yes. Yes, I do. He's gonna come back for something. He's gonna come back for something, because, like, spoiler alert for the end, but the Guardians kind of go their own way a little bit. I do want to see just Star-Lord and Thor, like, have, like, buddy cop through the universe type shit, because I don't think we're getting another Thor, like, strictly Thor movie either. But anyways.
No, I think Thor's done by himself. No, I don't want Thor and Star-Lord. I want Thor and Bojack.
And who?
Look up Thor and Bojack, and you'll get greatness.
Bojack. Oh, fuck, you're going to make me do what me and Kristen used to do.
Yes. Pretty sure it's Bojack.
You're talking about the horse guy?
Yes.
Yeah, you're thinking about Bojack Horseman, by the way. Keep talking for a second. I'm going to look for something else.
Where the fuck his name is. God damn it. What the fuck was his name? Thor and horse guy. What the fuck is his name?
Beta Ray Bill?
That's it.
Okay,
Close enough.
The audio, no, not even a little bit. BoJack Horseman and Beta Ray Bill, not the same at all. This is great for audio. Anyways, where did we go from here? We actually went to the High Evolutionary. We fought with him a little bit. We realized how useless that is. And then his whole thing was, when the experiment doesn't work, we just kill everybody. So he's going to take off, and he's going to blow up the planet. And everybody else comes to save the group that has Star-Lord in it. And Star-Lord and all of them get out, and the other ones go in, and it's Mantis, and it's Nebula, and it's Drax, and there's all the little kid experiments in there that are all speaking this language from the other planet. And Drax, who nobody trusts with anything because they think he's an idiot, knows how to speak to the kids, and that's fucking awesome.
Because that's the most Drax thing to do.
Yeah. There's a thing out there right now for like why Drax comes off as the way he does, but is actually the smartest guy in Guardians, and everybody's saying like Drax the Destroyer, like Drax from space, not from Earth, not set up for like Earth evaluation at all, is on the spectrum. And I'm like, that's a nice theory. I can see how you come to that, but you don't have to throw that in a sci-fi comic book movie. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry, but like, I'm trying to be respectful to everybody, not trying to single anybody out, but like, you just don't. And by this point, Rocket is up and going again, and because, I'm gonna mess this up now. This is fucking terrible. Gamora is the one that's with Rocket when Rocket's actually able to be awakened again, because they get the code off of the High Evolutionary's assistant's like headband thing that he had.
Yes.
Wakes up.
Mateo from Superstore.
I'll take your word for it. But the moment where they're all in the prison and Nebula or Gamora gets a hold of them over the comms, and it's like, why are you bugging us on the comms? Like, we're trying to get out of here. It's like, yeah, but somebody wants to say hi, and the Rocket's like, hey guys, I'm fine, or whatever the hell he says, and everybody stops. And I'm sorry, but again, like, on the most sarcastic asshole characters on the planet is probably Star-Lord and Nebula, or who are like the two like hard ass, immature, whatever, are like the most affected by it. And that's your movie right there.
Right.
Like, I don't know whether you even want to have the debate, like, is Nebula more effective because she's actually an asshole who's finally decided to care about something, or is Star-Lord more effective because he's, let's be real, one of the main characters, and he never takes anything seriously, and he's taking it seriously? I could see an argument being made for Nebula, honestly, because even though Quill is like a sarcastic asshole, he still gives a shit about some stuff. Like, he likes having friends, he likes being part of the team, more or less. Like, he's not a hero, but he likes knowing that he's at least kind of going out there to do the right thing, and he likes to win, so that's always a plus as well. Like, Nebula, who's been through so much of her own shit, and probably, actually, is there an argument to be made that Nebula, of everybody in the MCU, would be the one that would most be able to relate with Rocket?
Yeah,
because
I mean,
the High Evolutionary did to Rocket what Thanos did to her.
Right, exactly. So of course she can relate the most, just because she's had everything that's done to Rockets has been done to her.
I mean, her story the only difference is her story might be slightly more tragic because it was coming from not her dad, but like her father figure before she became a good guy. But actually, yeah, it does make the most sense that she'd be the most affected by it, because Peter Quill, again, if I'm going to use my, terrible domestic violence example, if you've got a friend that's in an abusive relationship, you can be sympathetic and whatever, but you don't know what they're going through. If they have another friend that's also been through that, of course they're going to be able to help them more.
Right.
So, really, really good thing that I hadn't quite thought of that way until we got talking just now.
Because, also because Nebula has such beautiful eyes.
Oh my god. Well, he picked a nice pair. The whole...
He will literally hit on anything that moves.
I mean, it's true, but also, like, they have a connection. And it's so... And it's a little bit sitcom-y, it's a little bit rom-com-y, but, like, this is the part of the MCU that can get away with it. The whole idea that, you see, like, any teenage comedy where, like, the guy's chasing the one girl that he can't have while some other girl likes him and he doesn't even realize it. Like, that's a common thing in, like, rom-coms and shit like that. And they've got this bickery relationship, him and Nebula, where it's like, oh, they can't stand each other. It's like, nope, it's the other thing. It's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they finally, they're not, I'm not saying they're going to go out there and space shag and whatever, and at the end of the movie, Gamora is nice to him about it, but, like, they know that that's not going to be a thing. She's going to go off and be a Ravager and what have you. But, yeah, so they bring... Tell me if you remember how this worked out, because they're now all on the spaceship. The planet has exploded. Everybody, like, in their two separate parties, each side is happy to hear that the other side wasn't blown up, which is always a nice thing to have. Good teamwork includes not wanting your teammates to be blown up. But they docked the spaceship against the eye socket of the Nowhere skull. And that was enough for people just to, like, jump through space, which was fine, I guess. And as this final fight is going on that we get the flashback of Rocket escaping, but Rocket escaping also involved all of his friends getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do we have to hammer home any harder the be nice to the animals?
No, because, I mean, the High Evolutionary's face is everything you should need to know.
Yeah.
How you shouldn't fuck with animals.
Yeah. But it's weird, though, that, like...
Oh, see, that was graphic.
Yeah, it was. No, I'll get to his revenge in a second, but just in the moment, in the flashback, it's got this weird, I mean, my interpretation of it anyway, it's got this weird other level on it, because he hates Rocket so much. Like, he hates his own creation so much because Rocket thinks higher than him, and he can't figure out why, and he wants to keep Rocket so that he can figure out why, so that he can put it into his next experiment, blah, 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 blah. Evil science people are going to do evil science things. But, like, he sees Rocket escaping, and he knows that Rocket's going to outsmart him because he knows that Rocket is smarter. So his victory is to hurt Rocket so badly with the death of his friends that accidentally shooting the other three, or maybe accidentally, is, like, the best part of his day. And that's really bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's some next level. Like, I couldn't shoot you, so I shot the guy next to you, and now his death is on your hands. Now multiply that by it's the only friend you've ever known. But when we come back in the modern day, we see him going face to face. Oh no, we got to go back first. The hallway fight.
Oh, that fucking hallway fight, yes.
When all the Guardians get back together and basically it's like, we got to get out of here, you know, Rocket, you know, you just got better and we're happy to see you and whatever, and he basically does the whole, and now Black Widow will cock a gun. You know, does the iconic I'm tired of running, and they just maul down a bunch of useless Power Ranger putties, pretty much. But it's all of them. It's... In the whole time, like, we haven't mentioned Adam Warlock at all, because he's really not a factor. Like, they put him in the movie so that Marvel people know that he exists. High Evolutionary...
Because he's been a hinted thing for fucking years, so...
But has he, though? Like, what's been the hint, other than when they showed him in the little cocoon thing at the end of Guardians?
I mean, because he's been a hint that he was coming.
Yeah.
But
But here's the thing, though. Okay. If we're gonna divert into that for a second, because what I didn't mention, because it wasn't relevant, was the fact that in the middle of High Evolutionary blowing up the Counter Earth planet, one of the people that dies is the High Sovereign chick who's been Adam Warlock's mom, and he sees that, and that's maybe the first little bit of an inkling that he might be on the wrong side, shall we say?
Right.
But yeah, he's just there. And even if you've ever seen the Ryan George pitch meeting movies on YouTube, they even mention it on there. It's like, why did we put him in there? Because we kind of said we would, but he's not important to the journey at all.
He's going in anyway.
He's going in anyway. We can make him the one that attacked Rocket? Okay, awesome. Can we put him in a post-credit scene? Yes. All right, we're done. And, like, I'm sorry, but it's a bummer to me, not necessarily because I know anything about the Adam Warlock character or the Sovereign or anything. Oh yeah, and they threw in randomly that the Sovereign were created by the High Evolutionary just because he wanted something nice to look at. And I'm like, they look like the gold statue performers in France. That's not a good look. But anyway, and then they're so minimized by the time we get to this movie. Like, she's his bitch, and then like her own creation, Adam, is like also his bitch. And these were like the most, like, this was going to be the next big threat to the Guardians, and then they bitched them out for the sake of making High Evolutionary the villain in this. It's kind of like nobody should touch an Infinity Stone because nobody could possibly withstand the force of touching an Infinity Stone. A few movies later, everybody's touching Infinity Stone.
Later,
okay.
Everybody has Infinity Stones.
Okay, Hawkeye held an Infinity Stone.
This is true.
Hawkeye.
The weakest Avenger.
No. Guapo. Hawkeye. So it's such a drastic, because like
look. I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
There we go. Nice. But because, okay, yes, there's movies in between, right? But as far as the Guardians trilogy, if we're gonna call it that, right? Mm-hmm. They tease this guy as being like the next big thing the world has to worry about, and then immediately in the next movie he's like a bitch's bitch. Don't like it at all.
Me neither.
But as they are all, escaping, they're all doing this weird thing because, like I said, the eye socket of the Nowhere planet matches perfectly with the door of a spaceship? ? So they're doing all this. They're throwing all the things over. Mantis has tamed the big basilisk. The basilisk creatures that they were fighting at the beginning of Guardians 2, and she's got 3 of them trained as her pets now. Which is wonderful, I suppose. When they go to hop over the dock, and the people on Nowhere are like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like this. They get them all over, and then Rocket goes back for the big emotional punch. Goes back to save all the animals. Mm-hmm. Opens up the cage that he came out of. Sees more raccoons in there because he's been denying that he's a raccoon the whole time because he doesn't know what the word means. He opens up the door, and it's like wherever they're from in the States on planet Earth. Bunch of whatever species raccoons. He's like, I am a raccoon. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that shouldn't be as funny.
Finally accepts it.
Yeah. But, he finally accepts it, or he finally learns it, because if you get plucked out of obscurity and you don't really have, like, proper sentience until somebody builds it into you, like, you don't know what a raccoon is, necessarily.
Right.
If that makes any sense. But he has to go back to save the animals. He frees all the animals, and they all go off on their way. Then you get the big final showdown with him, and that's right. That's when you get the big showdown between him and the High Evolutionary. He gets the flashback of the death of his friends. He gets to have his little Harry Potter dream moment and see them in. Correct me if I'm wrong. When he sees them in the vision. It's all in white, and it's all very Harry Potter-ish, right? But it's a white version of the cages that they were in.
Yes.
Here's my problem. this is a big emotional thing because he gets to see his friends again and he gets to say how sorry he is. He feels like he's failed, etc. They want him to know, we're all in paradise now. We're fine. We're all together and we can't wait to see you again soon, but it's not your time. Go back and finish the fight. That's pretty much the message of it, right?
Right.
Okay. Very nice message. We're all up here. We didn't make it. You made it. We didn't make it. We're up here in paradise. Don't worry. We're all together. We're cheering you on. Go finish your fight. Awesome message, right?
Right.
Why does their paradise have cages in it?
Because, man, because it's where he originally felt was his home.
Right. But if the whole idea is, hey, we're fine, we're all together, we've moved on, we're in this great place, why would the place that, yes, was their home, but also the place of his most sadness be their paradise or his? It doesn't. I'll take that, like what you've said, I'll take that as their reasoning because you're probably right, but it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't quite sit properly.
Because it's the only place in his mind, really, that they've ever been together. He can't place them anywhere else other than there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I get that as an answer. I do. I understand that as an answer. It probably is the answer. It still doesn't work for me. Even if I'm imagining my friends, I don't want, like, when you and I talk, and it's like, we're going to pick a day to record, and, okay, I'm working late this night, and you're working late this night. Hey, Spaz, you're working late, but let me show you this video from this live wrestling show that I'm at while you're still working on your fucking forklift, right? Even if I've never been to a wrestling show with you, I'm picturing you at that wrestling show, having a good time, and vice versa. When I barrage you with pictures from Destiny,
right,
you're going to picture me chilling out at Destiny. I hope you're not picturing me wasting my life away on a forklift 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, right? So
no,
even if they never...
Of course not.
So, okay, excuse my really shitty metaphor here, right? Even if you've never seen your friends in a good place, in your own mind, where you can picture anything you want, picture them on a fucking cloud. I'm sorry, like, I know this does not have any effect on the movie at all, but it's the little things... The little things that keep it from being less than perfect in a movie that I absolutely loved. If that hasn't come out in this podcast already, I absolutely loved this movie. The way they pitched it, the way all the characters worked, the way they got the goofy shit out of the way
before it was a great fucking movie.
Before they made us care about a CGI generated cyborg robot through the face acting of Chris Pratt, who's Star-Lord, damn it. But it's just. Like I said, I made the NXT reference earlier. Like, we held it to a higher standard because we loved it so much back in the day when it was good. Let's just be real for a second. Like, because the rest of this movie is so awesome, this little tiny thing that wouldn't bug me in an average movie bugs me so much for the way it hits me so wrong. Even though you're right, it's probably the right answer, and it's probably the answer the director would give me.
Yes.
That's all I got. So, yeah, he sees that. He watch it in his memory bank. He watches his friends die again. Then he gets to float away and visit them in heaven, which apparently has cages. And then he gets back up. He claws the fuck out of his face because his face has only been stretched on anyways because he did that to him in the flashback. It was a
mask.
Yeah.
And then we get that lovely image seared into our brain.
I mean, it's better than Aaron Eckhart, Harvey Dent.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, and I wouldn't expect that on the Marvel side over the DC side.
Yeah. Speaking of DC, did you go see Shazam?
I did not. I found another way to watch it, shall we say? And it was pretty shit.
I haven't seen it yet, so
it's okay. How did you feel about the first one? Be honest.
I enjoyed it. It was kind of weird pacing, but it was I somewhat liked it.
Okay. So you might think a little bit higher of this one than that because this Shazam. Okay, if we're gonna divert for a second, Shazam, both of them, but the second one even more so. To me, it reeks of film series that are like, oh, we're seen as the dark and gritty and brooding and like almost emo portion of comic book movies. Let's do something drastically the other way. Let's do something drastically the other way. We're not content just being the Undertaker. Let's be John Cena too. That's gotcha. Basically what it was like, and to me, and the second one was so much worse. Second one was so much worse. The only reason I watched the first one even was because I was going to go see Black Adam, because obviously I was going to go see fucking Black Adam.
Yeah.
Black Adam with the eyebrow raise. But anyways, we don't need to talk about that.
With The Rock.
Yeah, the Rock in a Black Adam costume for 2 hours. It's fine. People shit on that movie more than they shit on Shazam, and I'm like, no, you're wrong.
Black Adam was good.
Black Adam was really good. I say with this movie here, I'm taking it from the perspective of, this is a brand new character to me. Movie, show me who this is.
Yes.
Right? I'm not one of those people who's got their copy 7512B in the back, flipping through the pages to make sure the movie maker got everything right. So one of those people would probably tell you everything that's wrong with the movie. I saw a movie that was like, brand new character, cool, let's go. And I liked it. And I watched Shazam to sort of see if there was anything I would need to know from that to watch Black Adam, and there really wasn't.
No, not really.
And yeah, no, it's weird. We went before Guardians came along. I had sort of 3 or 4 movies that I was like, okay, maybe I'll go see them. Shazam 2 was one of them. What is it? Honor Among Thieves was one of them, and there was a couple others.
I loved the D&D movie.
Okay. And again, it's just not anything against the movie, just not an IP that I'm familiar with. So I'm like, I'll go. It looks fun. I'll maybe go.
It's understandable.
See it.
I am very, very aware of the IP of D&D, as well as have played it numerous times. So it was fun to watch.
Oh yeah, but no, it was weird because like we had. What was it? We had like the John Wick movie and Scream, which was awesome, and we had this that I was looking forward to, and I'm like, okay, these are all these movies that I'm going to go see on the night. Those of you that have been listening to Flix Fix, you guys know I've done a lot of trailer previews for a lot of them. There's a lot more coming up. Go back to the immediate previous podcast to this one. I did a reaction to the Meg 2 The Trench trailer, but I got to a point where all the movies that I really, really wanted to see had passed, and there was like 4 or 5 movies that I kind of wanted to see, and that's painful.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, getting back to the movie itself, yeah, Shazam can lick my taint.
No, thank you.
And then we have the last fake out, because what did we say at the beginning? We watched all the trailers, and we were like, oh, all these people are leaving, they're making a really sad trailer about Rocket, somebody's gonna die.
Yep.
And then
then nobody died.
No, and then they were doing the jumps over, and then the connections started becoming like fractured, and who was it? Star-Lord went back to get one more person and like shoved them across, and then he sort of got lost in space, and he started like ballooning up, and I was like,
he had to go back for his Zune.
He had to go back for his Zune, yeah, that's right. But he gets stuck in the middle and he starts ballooning up, and then the part of me in my brain that was like, oh, I'm going to go see this really sad movie and somebody's going to die, and then Star-Lord is
did not expect Star-Lord to be the one to die.
Star-Lord is the one. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They got me on the hook with the I had such a high assumption of tragedy going into this movie, which is a weird way to phrase it, that when they did that, I'm like, are they killing Star-Lord? Like, that's fucked up. And then, obviously, immediately, here's the guy with the big bad guy to good guy redemption arc. Adam Warlock shoves him across the spaceway through the magical invisible space door. And then, yeah, it's immediately, like, as soon as the tension passes, it's immediately played off for laughs, and he kind of gives him, sort of a thumbs up and a smile with his big, crazy, frozen, swollen face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you guys are assholes. You guys are assholes because you got me, and that's not cool. There was that, and then it was overarched with the goddammit Marvel, goddammit James Gunn, how dare you have me emotionally invested in the well-being of a CGI cybernetic fucking raccoon. Yeah. But you did it, and then you made me think you were killing Star-Lord. I want to give a shout-out to our friend Kristen, who's not been on the show for a while. Hopefully we'll get her back soon for the immortal line that I will say in a second, because I did not see the first Guardians when it came out. I was like, oh, this is going to be some weird, like, having nothing to do with not knowing much of who they were or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm with the main guys, I'm with Iron Man, I'm with, not Captain America, but everybody else. Captain America can fuck off. And I was like, oh, here's this other thing over here that's happening, and it kind of looks like Marvel Power Rangers. I don't really care. But come around to when we first started doing movie reviews, before it was even called Flix Fix, and Kristen and I did a review of the first Jurassic World. And that was the first thing I saw Chris Pratt in.
Yeah.
And throughout the review, you can probably still find it on the channel somewhere. Throughout the review, I couldn't remember his name because it was the first thing that I've ever seen him in. And the third or fourth time I couldn't think of his name, you get our good friend Kristen in the most indignant voice possible. How dare you, sir? He's Star-Lord, damn it!
Yeah.
So go from me not knowing who the fuck he is to me thinking, oh my god, how did you guys trick me into thinking that you were going to kill one of the main characters? I still want to see Star-Lord and Thor in a buddy cop movie. But anyways, not BoJack Horseman, who's not part of Marvel, guapo.
Close enough.
So then everybody's celebrating, everybody's good. Some of the monsters from the main ship hop over into nowhere, and a lot of them get taken out by Kraglin, who's finally figured out how to use the arrow, which is awesome. As I say, even the most minor characters got to feel like big deals in this, which A is awesome, and B gives you the feeling that, yeah, they are really closing up this trilogy. But, so everything's good. Everything's fine. We all made it. We've got this brand new community with the people that were already there and all the people that they've just saved, all the animals that they've just saved, all the creations of the High Evolutionary. Everything's happy, right?
Right.
Yeah, except the band's breaking up.
Yeah, everybody's going their opposite ways.
Well, kinda, yeah.
Because basically everybody that's staying on Nowhere, yeah.
Star-Lord goes home.
Star-Lord goes home.
Mantis
go see
splits
Grandpa.
off.
Yeah.
Mantis splits off, and like her thing is pretty good, honestly. Like, you know, she was created by Ego. And did whatever he wanted, and then I joined the Guardians, and I kind of did whatever they wanted. I got to go do my own thing. Totally makes sense. Love the fact that she took the basilisks with her, just as pets. Just little tiny cute little mantis with these big massive monster things backing her up. Nebula, who knows that Drax needs a purpose, asks him to stay on Nowhere and, you know, be a dad to these like 100 kids that they've just adopted, because she says that's his real purpose in life. And obviously we know from the first movie, dealing with Ronan the Accuser and Thanos, that he had his own family destroyed and whatever, and he talks about his daughter in the movie, so now he's going to get to be a dad to everybody, which is fine. So they're there, and one of the creations was Blurp, that little dog-looking thing that was kind of adopted by Adam Warlock, and we don't really know why that worked.
Nope.
What's his name? The other rocket, the dog in the spacesuit.
Cosmo.
Cosmo, there we go. The Russian dog who got called a bad dog throughout the whole movie until she squashed a guy with a bunch of rubble. So that's how you make friends in space, I suppose.
Because she's a good dog.
And I mean, the most obvious thing in the world, you know, Star-Lord's leaving, the new leader of the Guardians is Rocket. Which is, I mean, if you want to sign it off as, hey, Rocket was the real main character all along, that's how you do it.
Right.
So you figure Rocket's going to lead the Guardians, but the Guardians' home base is on Nowhere. So it'll be Rocket, Drax, and Nebula hanging out on Nowhere. Peter Quill's going home. Mantis is going to go do other shit. What's his name? Guy that doesn't really matter in the whole movie, but they had to introduce him anyway. Adam Warlock. There we go. He gets to stay on Nowhere, even though he's the one that started all the trouble in the whole movie by attacking Rocket in the beginning. Yeah. Interrupted Peter Quill's day drinking. So, you know, you're a good guy now, because reasons. And then, post-credit scene, one of them is all of them just hanging out on some desert planet talking about music and whatever, and they're switching they switch from 90s to 2000 on the Zune, and they just, because they've been called to some random new planet, this is their first job as the new Guardians, but they're all sitting there, they're all talking about music. Rocket puts on, says, "This is a classic," and he puts on the song that Peter Quill's dancing to at the beginning of the first movie, just to wrap it up. But the new team is Rocket, Groot, who's huge now,
Alpha Groot.
Some people are calling him Kaiju Groot, which is maybe
Kaiju Groot is what he transformed into to scare all those people.
Okay, fair enough. So you've got Rocket, massive big ass Groot, who they were sitting on like a log while they were talking, which I thought was kind of cool. Was like something out of Kong Skull Island. Drax, Adam Warlock.
No, Drax wasn't. Drax wasn't in that shot.
Wasn't he? Oh no, because he's back on Nowhere taking care of the kids.
Yes.
One of the Nowhere kids, who's
Yes.
apparently going to be somebody. You'll explain it to me probably.
I don't know that character at all, so no.
And Cosmo and Blurp are all going to, that instant like freeze frame Saved by the Bell at the end of the episode as they run into battle. And then the last post-credit scene is Peter Quill talking to his grandfather, and they're eating cereal, and he's talking about some random thing that he read on the news that Kevin Bacon was abducted by aliens. And even if you haven't seen the Christmas special, you know that that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was really good. That's like our like National Enquirer these days. I mean, we don't have to go into space. There's more fucked up stuff happening in our planet right now. But that was Guardians.
Great movie.
Great movie. Good time. I'm gonna keep saying it because I think even with all the praise we give it, I think it's going to be underrated in the long run. It's the best collection of characters in the MCU, and this is coming from me, who's a huge Iron Man mark.
Right.
The most real, the most believable set of like, hey, we're just a bunch of friends hanging out. We just happen to be also saving the universe. They did a really good job of making me nervous through the whole movie that they were going to kill somebody. Made a really big deal of it being Rocket through every single bit of advertising because they're assholes. Still made me believe at the end that they might have killed Star-Lord. They've broken up the team. Like, there's still going to be a Guardians team, but not the Guardians team that we know of. Everybody's kind of got direction. Everybody, because we're in a world now where like anybody can get a little side spin-off and do a little Disney Plus thing or a one-off special or whatever.
Out of all of them, I see Mantis getting like a little Disney Plus, like not necessarily a series, but like maybe like a set of like little shorts.
Yeah. See, that's funny because I was gonna say she's about the only one I wouldn't know what to do with. Like, because her with her big basilisks just going through space, like almost like a wandering officer type thing, could be kind of fun. But you'd have to bring it back around at some point to something connected because that's just what they do. Like a little mini series. I don't know if you want to say like a more space-based version of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just to get us used to the new Guardians team. I think would be a really awesome idea. Like not super tying into whatever the next big movie is, but just sort of like, hey, by the time the next big thing happens, this is what we've been up to. This is the little bullshit that our team had to deal with. Peter Quill is joining the Avengers proper, is the rumor that I've heard as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you get to the end of the movie, it doesn't say the Guardians will return. It says the legendary Star-Lord will return.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, that was the exact moment where I was like, I hope Kristen's watching this because he's Star-Lord. Damn it.
He's gonna get a one-off movie
by himself.
Yep.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be like anybody in a movie right now that's not getting another like solo movie, like we said before, like Doctor Strange will get one more and then that's it. Captain America is kind of an exception because it's a new Captain America.
Yes.
That can also fuck off, but that's another conversation for another day. But like anybody that doesn't have their own stuff right now, anybody that isn't getting their own movies anymore, and Star-Lord would be an example of that, I think you are ripe for post-credit scene bait. until we get to the next official Guardians movie. Because when we got to Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, a lot of the first one, and this is not a bad thing, but a lot of it in the theater specifically was like, oh my god, this person's meeting this person for the first time, and rah, 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 and like, Tony Stark meets the Guardians, and he thinks they're weird, and they think he's an asshole, and, Iron Man and Doctor Strange are both assholes, so they have a bit of an asshole off, and Spider-Man has to smack some sense into them and whatever. I think whatever the next, because the next ones are Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers. Talk a minute.
Avengers Kang Dynasty. Well, I mean, Kang Dynasty's got to be changed slightly, probably. So.
Oh yeah.
Because the whole gonna have to change.
Oh, Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars.
Yes, Secret Wars. That's it.
And apparently, although they are two individual movies, they will feed one into the other the same way that Infinity War and Endgame did. So I think whatever the first one is, probably Kang Dynasty, will see the assembling of the new Avengers team, because there really isn't an Avengers team right now. Like, if you think about it, Cap's dead. Like, old Cap is dead. Iron Man's gone. Hulk is twerking with his cousin. We don't really need to talk about it. Black Widow is dead. New Black Widow new Black Widow isn't Black Widow yet.
If we're looking forward into the Marvel universe, the next movie is going to be the Marvels. Which, if done okay, I think will be fine. But
for those of you listening, I did do a trailer reaction to this. Here's my problem, right? And you can't not like this movie or you'll get called sexist, because we live in a go-fuck-yourself world, right? Here's my problem. You're bringing three flawed characters together. You've got Photon, who's fine, but she was a minor character on a Disney Plus show. You've got Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, who's fine, but has only ever really existed in a show that was designed to be the goofy kids movie of the MCU. And you've got Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, who herself was great in a shitty movie. And then had the most, I'm sorry, but it is, the most obnoxious 2 or 3 minutes in all of Endgame.
Yeah.
Can we say the feminist selfie at the end of Endgame? It's a thing.
The feminist selfie at the end of Endgame.
But here's I say that, right? I want it to be good. I want the Photon character to go from being a background character to being a character that I can believe is a main character. I want that. I want the Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel character to sort of become bigger than a goofy kids show on a goofy kids TV show that they put on Disney Plus. I want Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, to stay as great as she is and build a movie around her that deserves her in it.
Right.
But that's asking a lot. It's asking a lot when there's a lot of other, I'm going to use wrestling terminology here, but there's already a lot of factions that we're being asked to care about right now, right?
Right.
We're putting the Thunderbolts together.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yep. Again, it's another one of those things that I have absolutely no idea about, and I'll just Harrison Ford is the new Ross, because the other dude passed away. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the Thunderbolts are coming together. We sort of had the Illuminati. Apparently, they're going to do the Illuminati again somehow. We're going to be building a new Avengers team. The X-Men are coming.
Mm-hmm.
The Eternals are a thing, although most people shit on that movie, and I don't know why. I thought it was really good. So here's another movie with another group full of 3 individual characters that are like, yeah, but. I hope it's good. I really do. Oh, and the Fantastic Four are coming as well.
Yes.
So, I don't know.
I'm also looking forward to Blade.
Oh man, because then we're gonna get into all the dark Marvel stuff. Because apparently we're getting the Dark Avengers at some point, which at this point is John Bernthal, Punisher, Mahershala Ali's Blade, the guy that played, I can't think of his name now, which is really terrible, but the guy that played the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. version of Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, who's fucking awesome,
yeah,
and potentially Doctor Strange or what's her name, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch. I think.
So pull all the dark goth borderline world-ending characters together.
There's only one other one I would like to see in there. Well, no, take it back. He's in DC. Never mind. Disregard.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say Constantine, but he's definitely DC.
Yeah. Have you heard the rumors though? James Gunn thinks he's going to be the one to create a Marvel DC crossover movie.
I wouldn't hate it if done correctly, but
yeah,
of course none of it could be canon.
Keep talking for a second.
Oh god, what are you gonna send me? Blade definitely has some legs on it. Could definitely see some crazy things with that. What else? I mean, we're getting Loki season 2 towards the end of this year.
Guapo, tell them what I just sent you.
Oh god, what is that? That is Ghost Rider riding a giant.
No, that is the Red Hulk infused with the Venom symbiote and the Spirit of Vengeance. That's apparently a thing that happened. I don't care.
That's just death for all.
I give me that movie.
I mean, essentially that's what you call it.
That's death.
Yeah, I mean that is the Pale Rider. That is death.
And death followed with him. Anyways, we've rambled well past the point. Think you're gonna come back for something like this? Seeing as wrestling is disappointing you right now.
Yeah. Let's plan to shit on the Marvels. No, we're not gonna do that. Mostly because I'm not gonna probably watch it in theaters.
Something will come along.
Yeah, probably.
Something will definitely. Flash maybe.
Yes, Flash. Because I will go see that.
Because Michael Keaton, Batman.
That and the Flash is one of the only DC characters I love enough to, even if when they fuck up, I will not care and I will enjoy it.
And see, I don't give a shit about the Flash. Michael Keaton, Batman.
Flash has always been one of my favorite characters, but
we'll do something.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot.
There's the plug. Something will happen at some point.
We will do Flash. We'll be doing Flash.
Yeah. One more cheap plug to throw in there, seeing as we are talking a lot about Christian, who I hope will come back eventually. Christian and I did do a review, like, sometime over the course of COVID, of the original 1989 Batman. Why did we do a review of the original 1989 Batman? Well, first of all, we were doing a trilogy of all the movies that had Joker in them. Second of all, she hadn't seen it.
It's crazy.
Anyways, on that note, before she reaches through invisible space and punches me in the face, yeah, we're still going to end this the same way we always end it. Guapo, tell them where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter, even though I don't tweet, at Guapo_504.
Yeah, you don't tweet for shit unless I ask you to.
I mean, yeah.
You might tweet this out. That's about it.
We'll see what happens.
And you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. This has been Guapo. This has been Flix Fix. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. For right now, me and El Guapo El Cinema are out of here. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Adios.